All right. Peace and blessings, all praises due to the Most High. Now, I'm going to tell you about a case that happened in Cincinnati that you probably don't know about it, that was recently disposed of court in July. And this is the case right here of this man, of Kyle Raleigh. And Kyle Raleigh is the son of famous meteorologist in Cincinnati, Steve Raleigh. Now, last year, Kyle Raleigh got into an accident with this man. This man right here is Troy Morrow. Troy Morrow was riding with his 76 and 79-year-old parents. And after the accident, an argument ensued where Kyle basically got into an altercation, and I'm going to play the video, in which Troy's mother, and I'm going to show you the picture. This is her right here. Her name is Lois, got assaulted and pushed to the ground along with his 79-year-old father, Doug. And you see the injuries there. Now I'm going to play you the court case in which Kyle Raleigh, the son of the famous meteorologist, was only charged with simple assault and received a 3-year probation sentence and some fines and community service. Just listen to this article and how the narrative changed when it is white people committing extreme acts of violence. Just check this out.
Parking lot confrontation that went viral here ends with probation for a man who admitted that he knocked 2 people to the ground.
That's right. The incident happened last summer right outside the Montgomery and Boathouse. And WLWT News 5's Todd Dykes is live tonight with today's sentencing hearing for Kyle Raleigh. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Mike and Sherry. Yeah, barring any missteps by Kyle Raleigh moving forward, what's been an 8-month saga for people on both sides of this story came to a close today here inside the Hamilton County Courthouse.
A violent confrontation last June that was partially caught on video led to these comments in court today from Kyle Raleigh.
I would like to express my sincere remorse for my actions. I deeply regret what transpired, and I take full responsibility for my involvement.
A grand jury originally indicted Raleigh on 3 counts, including a felony assault charge. An investigation determined the 34-year-old got combative after a car accident in the parking lot of the Montgomery Inn Boathouse and knocked Doug and Lois Morrow, who were both in their 70s, to the ground. In December, Raleigh took a deal and pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts. Today, with the Morrows looking on, Judge Allison Hathaway sentenced Raleigh to 3 years probation and a $1,000 fine.
This appears to have been a unique and isolated incident.
Raleigh will also have to do 200 hours of community service. While the sentence was not a surprise to court observers, the exact nature of what happened last summer was a big part of today's talking points for attorneys for both Raleigh and the Morrows.
The alleged victims in this case got out of the car, used profanity, screamed, yelled, and caused quite a scene. He was threatened with physical violence.
We were encouraged to a certain degree that Kyle Raleigh accepted responsibility. On the other hand, we were disappointed with the version of the facts that were presented by the defense attorney. I think if the defense truly believed those facts, they would have taken this case to trial.
Now, in addition to probation, the judge overseeing this case said Kyle Raleigh has to pay restitution to the Morrows in the total of about $8,300. In her victim impact statement, Lois Morrow wrote about the pain she's experienced since last summer's incident, adding she's afraid to be anywhere alone because of the trauma of the assault. Reporting live downtown, Todd Dykes, WLWT News 5.
And once again, this happened in downtown Cincinnati at Montgomery Inn Boathouse, where there was a car accident. They said Cal and the guy Troy got into a little altercation, and Cal is saying, well, he felt threatened because Troy came up in a fighting stance, and that caused him to start beating Troy and his mother. Now, consequently, I'm going to show you another part of the trial where Troy is charged with what they call menacing. Now, if you listen to the lawyer saying, the alleged victims, they got out of the car, they were screaming, yelling profanity, causing a scene, and my client felt threatened, right? Does that sound familiar? The white guys in Cincinnati were screaming, threatening, yelling profanities, even attacked the person and then they got the brunt of the attack. But in this case, when a white man beats up the alleged victims, as they say, then it's, oh no, it's their fault. It's their fault because they were being loud and obnoxious and, you know, they were threatening. Even the judge is in on the act, talking about, well, this seems like an isolated, unique incident this is Kyle Raleigh, the prominent son of the prominent news anchor, Steve Raleigh. And so, of course, we all know, just like this lawyer is finna say in this next clip, that powerful people are able to swing the narrative and actually make the victims the criminals. They're charging him with menacing and saying that his actions caused Cal to react in the way he did. Isn't that the same as what happened with the White Russians? His actions caused the black people to do what they did. Just take a listen at this and see the dichotomy of the whole situation.
Other news, a parking lot brawl outside the Montgomery and Boathouse has landed members of two families in court.
So the Raleigh and Morrow families were both wrapped up in the fight last June, but of different versions of what happened. Today, for the first time, we heard from the alleged victim in this case. Steve Raleigh, WLWT News 5's Karen Johnson, was in the courtroom. She joins us live downtown with more. Hey there, Karen.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. You know, in this particular case, Troy Morrow is the defendant charged with menacing. Steve Raleigh is named as the alleged victim. Prosecutors say Morrow's actions caused Steve Raleigh to believe he was going to be harmed.
What started as a fender bender turned into a melee outside Montgomery and Boathouse.
Stop. Melee from the Morrows.
City Prosecutor Keith Foreman placing blame on the defendant, Troy Morrow. Foreman says Steve Raleigh is a victim in all of this.
He did absolutely nothing wrong and everything perfectly.
Jurors heard directly from Raleigh today, who said after the crash involving his son Carter and the Morrows, Lois Morrow, Troy's mother, started yelling profanities.
Out of the corner of my eye, I looked over, and I saw Troy Morrow pull off his shirt and then just run at me. He was running at me, and he wasn't far away, and he was up on me, and he said, "I'm going to you up."
How loud was his voice?
"I'm going to you up."
Raleigh said he thought Morrow was going to hurt him.
100%?
No question. He was right up on me with his fist closed, and the fist was raising, and that's when my son tackled him.
Defense attorney Kaylee Harris saying this case is about the Raleigh family saving face.
Image control. Damage control. Control over the narrative. My client has to be the villain for them to get their good names back. Mr. Morrow has to be in the wrong. Because how else can they get their good image back?
And very little was said so far about the injuries Troy's parents sustained in the fight. Doug and Lois Morrow were knocked to the ground and hospitalized. The trial will resume on Thursday. Reporting live downtown tonight, Karen Johnson, WLWT News 5.
Now, Karen, a lot has happened with this case. Steve Raleigh's son, Kyle, he was already convicted of charges related to the assault on the Morrows. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. He was originally indicted. Kyle Raleigh was originally indicted on felonies of aggravated assault. He ended up taking a plea deal, pleaded guilty to misdemeanors, and he was sentenced to 3 years probation.
All right, Karen Johnson reporting live for us downtown. Karen, thank you so much.
Now, in this case, you have the meteorologist talking about he's the victim of menacing, because Troy was coming at him and he, felt threatened. He was having his fist raised, and that's when my son tackled him, right? His son tackled him. So how did the 76-year-old and the 79-year-old parents get beat up? Now, that is a picture of them. Doesn't that look like the Holly girl in the Cincinnati? But mind you, this lady is 76. Isn't there a charge of assault on elderly or elderly abuse or something like that? But of course, the narrative always gets changed. As the news reporter said, little has been mentioned about the injuries sustained to them. Even though he pled guilty to a cookie cutter charge, that women said that she still suffers from the injuries and is afraid to be alone. Capture this image as well. Look, 76-year-old woman on the ground. Now, also somebody shared this most recently because evidently, this case just got disposed of. This is Lois Morrow, 76-year-old woman who was punched and knocked out by a man half her age at the Montgomery Inn Boathouse in downtown Cincinnati of June. My question for you, Mr. Reno, where's all the outrage and where is Lois Law? Now, don't get me wrong, no one should ever have this happen to them, but where were you defending this mother and citizen of the citizen when she was brutally assaulted? Mr. Marino, you were nowhere to be found, because she was assaulted by a young man from a prominent Cincinnati family, and your political grandstanding wouldn't work to fire up your maggot base and make this a racial issue. You are a criminal who stole money from your employees, and now you ought to be Mr. Law and Order. Please leave our city and take your BS with you. Shout out to Ludi Grits, which points it out perfectly. All the outrage about the Cincinnati brawl, but there was no outrage about this 76-year-old woman getting knocked out by a man half her age. And that woman, Holly, that you so touted and victim, and we got to stop all of this because it was black people involved. Furthermore, once again, these victims, these alleged victims, y'all pointing at them because they were being menacing and loud and cursing, but you're not pointing the finger at the white Russian who started the incident in the Cincinnati Jazz Fest. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this double standard in the comments. And as always, peace and blessings.